Okay, welcome back. Here we are in a game. I'm around 2100, right? There. 2161 is the year I'm in. So that's about 60 years of game time. Now, I'm just going to use this opportunity to just run through all the other areas of the user interface that we didn't really have opportunity to do so because we didn't have anything to look at. So, first of all, you can set hotkeys for certain things by doing control 1, control 2, control 3. So I've got my home world set to control 1. And then um, something you'll notice, let me see here. You can click on this and it takes you right to it. Zoom in. Okay. And looks like a swarm of bees, but that's my home world. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just start off by going through some of these things. So your colonies would be listed here. This becomes a little bit, I don't know, I don't use it very much. Um, Over here, your characters, again, I don't use this very much. I'll go to the character screen. Now, for your explorers, I do use this. Actually, these are spaceports. Again, I don't use that much, but that's what it is. Over here is your construction. Now, I do use construction a lot, and I usually build a lot more than are recommended by the game. So if you go to this little icon here, the first one to the right of your design is where you can queue up ships. And this is the current ships that I have. And this is what the advisor thinks I should build. Now, the advisor would not normally recommend 25 constructors, but I like to build stuff immediately. And it's not a huge burden on the economy to support them. So I usually go ahead and really spam those out. And then explorers, you'll want to, as time, depending on the size of your galaxy, you'll want to get those up and running too. I believe I still have areas that are unexplored, so they haven't run out of work to do. But what's cool about explorers is once if you spam them out, once they have explored all the areas, they don't become useless. What you can do is then change your design on these things to have long range scanners on them. And then you can set them out on the outsides of other people's territories and use them to be like watch stations. What's cool about this game is you can stop your ships in dead space so that they won't be stumbled upon by anybody randomly. And so that's a cool thing to do is just to retrofit them to having long range scanners and then parking them all around the universe so you can keep an eye on folks. See if there's anything else in here. Not really, not on this screen. But the thing that you want to try and remember when you use this screen to create build orders, where you would, say I want to build some more destroyers, go ahead and bump this up, and so on. These are going to be built at random, maybe not random, but they will be built at different spaceports around places that you own. Which can become a pain in the butt if you're trying to create a new fleet, and then they all have to fly together first. So instead of doing it that way, I recommend going and building straight from the colony that you want to build. So my home world is always going to have the biggest port. So I will go there, and then I will go to construction yard, and then I will just individually queue up, my ships. So if I want to have wait, actually, this is planet side. By the way, this is what I was talking about earlier. Your bases and your colony ships are built planet side. So you would actually go into that construction queue. It's the same. It's going to look the same for your ports. If I X out of that, I've got my home port hotkey number 2. And then you can open that up and go to construction. And this is where you can queue up your ships. So I could do destroyers. I could queue up a bunch of destroyers. And I know that they're all going to start here. Now, another thing you do after you've queued them up, if you want to make them into a fleet, just getting some different ships here before they're actually built, is after you do that, then you go into this one here where it shows like a single ship, it's the third from the right, and you open that up, and for some reason it's being slow. go on this drop down, you go to military ships, and if you sort over here by fleet, these will be all the ones that are not in a fleet. All the ones that you just queued up are in orange. So you can click on it, hold control down, select all the ones that you just did. I'm not going to do it all just for time. Go down here and you go to set fleet, and it creates new fleet. Creates a new fleet. So now they're all in 9th fleet. So after you do that, X out of that, go to your fleet key right next to it, 8th fleet or 9th fleet, and then I can change the name. So if I wanted to make a new defensive fleet, defense south, I like to name mine specifically south east. So yeah, this is a good thing to show. I'm going to change it to DEF southeast. Now you'll notice down here, I don't know if you can see it, my little blue area, I have a new region that I have recently expanded to. So that's where it's going to go. So I'm just going to go ahead and enter that. I'm going to leave it that now. I'm going to go ahead and back out. And you will notice what I was talking about. Now early on, I did use small spaceports for some of these areas. So I think that's a small spaceport, small spaceport, small spaceport. So you don't have a good hub and spoke look here. But out here, this is one of the first areas I expanded to. I have one spaceport, and then these other colonies go to it. And the same way down here, I found an independent colony that was already pretty large. I captured it. All these other places are planets that I just colonized. There's no need to have a spaceport on them because they don't have enough of anything built up. And the way spaceports work is all the stuff that you own. So if you were to go into this section here and look at, so that was the second one from the left, your expansion planner. Up the top left, I like to sort by type. You will see your current stock. Now, what the game does, what the civilian sector does with this stock is it evenly or somewhat evenly distributes them between your spaceports. So if every planet had a spaceport, then all of your goods that you use to make ships would be dispersed to where each spaceport has a little. And the problem with that is if you use one spaceport to be your primary construction area, is you will have a lot of times where you're running out of goods or running out of components, of materials to be able to build your ship, and construction will be stalled. So that's why you don't want to have every planet with a spaceport. You want to have a spaceport in an area that will be convenient for the ships if you wanted to build a fleet at that location, or to be able to have your civilian ships building at that location. You want to have those locations strategically placed, and then just those locations will have the ports so that the goods will be stored up, or the materials will be stored up there. Now, I played this game. It's a large map. So my problem here is that I've got a lot of, it takes a long time to save. So anyway, that's why you have like one spaceport to cover these areas. Now I'm going to go ahead and keep this, I'm going to go ahead and go down this side some more. I like to use the construction one so I can see who's idle. I can grab them, and then I can send them to a specific place. Now there's other ways to do it, but I'm going to show you that are easier. But if you have a specific mission you want them to do, that's how you would do it. Exploration ships, you can just look to see and make sure they're not idle. Once they start becoming idle, by the way, you keep them automated by this little icon here. So if I click on this, you'll notice it's automated. If I hover over top of it, it'll say turn off automation. I use fleet a lot. So these are all my different fleets. Now, what's cool about fleets, like I said, when you start having a large area, it'll be hard to defend all your empire with one fleet. So what you do, and this is where I'm going to show you in that new fleet that I just set up. This planet, I'm going to go down here and grab the name of that planet. This planet is Tetatef. That's a weird name. So I'm going to go into that fleet. I'm going to go to that new one that was going to be defense southeast because this is going to be my southeast region. I want to go to set colony or set home colony to that one. I want to go set. Now that's its home colony. Now then what you do when you go to that fleet, and actually I'm going to put it in the name, TETOUTEF. So let's go to TETOUTEF, I think. Anyway, close enough. Now I'll come over here and I'll find that on this. Here it is. Now the ships aren't made yet, but what you'll do is you'll come down here and you'll set it to, this is your range. I'm going to change it to nearby systems. And then I'm going to change my stance, which is this one right here, posture. You have attack or defensive. You set it to defense. Now, check this out. I go up here. Now I'm going to change this little area here that says show fleet posture. Click on it. You can see a little darker purple. If I change it from region or nearby systems to, let's see, where is it here? The sector, you see how it got bigger? It goes back down to small. So I can do it as a sector. Now I'm playing a 15 sector map, which is why these sectors are small. And you'll see that it will now defend anything in this region. It works out a little bit better when you have fewer sectors. So you can play the same size and just have 10 by 10 sector. And then this would actually be fairly large. But now, as long as it's set to defend, it will defend any planet that's under attack in this area, which would still cause outliers, which is why you would want to still have a lot of defensive places, defensive bases on any important areas. So moving right along, just kind of whatever comes to my mind is to go over your potential colonies. You can use this here. I don't usually use it there. However, I do use over here, I do use potential research places. So this is where if you find like an energy one that gives you a plus 27 to your energy bonus, research bonus, you would build, you only need one mining station, one research station above one special area for each weapons, high tech, and energy. So I would use that to help me find it. And I can see that there's one down there and I might put it in that system. And then I also use it for resorts. Now, my understanding is there is no reason to not build a resort base over every location that you can. And that will give you extra income. So if I go into here, wrong one, sorry, I go to the one in the middle. I'm getting an extra 26,000 from resort bases income. There's no reason to not spam that as far as I know, so you can get that extra money. Let's see. I think so now going into, this is where I wasn't able to go before, but in here, I can see all my colonies. And if I see this one here, you'll notice that I have maxed out my population. Therefore, I bumped my taxes all the way up to 59 because my guys can tolerate it because I have a governor that has really good happiness bonus. And I take them down to around plus 15. When you get down below plus 15, it gives you a different smiley face. And I believe that affects something. I'm not sure. You might be able to take it down to where they're just plus 1 or 2. But what I've always done is tried to keep them at the maximum happiness, which is at plus 15. And you'll notice I've got this guy's maxed out, this guy's maxed out. So I've got these taxes. Actually, this guy I haven't bumped up yet. So what I would do is I would go ahead and pull that up probably around 30, and then you just click on any tab. He's still at a happiness of 28. So now I'm going to bump that up to like 40. You guys are super happy. They're really stoked. Oh, now that was not so good. So bounce it down. I'm going to maybe just leave it at that just to show you. So that's right at 15. So now that I've done that, if I X out of this, you're going to notice my cash flow jump from 44,000 to something else. So let's see what it goes to. All right. Yeah, it does take a minute for that to kind of kick in, but when it does, you'll see that bounce up. I believe it. I wonder if it's at the first of the month that it does it. So we're at 26. Oh, so it just jumped up to 103. So now I've just increased my income, so I can start spending again. Another thing you'll do is you'll go into your expansion planner. This is where you can see your colonies. Now, when you look at a colony, you'll notice this here, quality. That's what you want. You want a high quality planet. I've read on forums that people don't do it below 60. It's a point where you basically don't make any money off that planet. Now, I don't really know how exactly that works, but you want to stick to high quality. So here's a high quality one that I do not have any colony ship going to. So I just go down here, build a colony ship to go to it. And now I've got a colony ship going to it. Another thing you can do is you can come down here to resources that I need. If there are resources that I am short on, it'll give me the options. I'm not short on a whole lot, but I've got a ship going here, and I can also go ahead and say queue up a ship to do a construction ship there. But what you like to do is come to the Galaxy one, and you sort by distance, and well, actually you can sort by resources too, but or you can leave it. But what you want to look for is anything that has a total over 120. So you add up the percentages on them over 120. That seems to be the general rule of thumb to whether or not it's worth putting a mining station there. One that you'll use a lot is your fuel. So you can go to Caslon. If you're early game or later game, it might be hydrogen. And you want to stock up on fuels. Anytime you find a Caslon one that has a high one, like that's a really good one, 95%, 62, and it tells you over here where it's going to be, I'm going to be wanting to expand up in that area. So I go ahead and put one there. So that's an idea of what you can do with this. Also, there's these super luxuries. Let me see. Oh, is that one of them? It is. Okay, so that's a super luxury. Super luxuries give you really extra bonuses. You might stumble upon one some point and forget where it is. All you would have to do is come into this little selection here. And I know that there's been some spice that we found. That's one of them. Where is it? I don't think we found the fluid yet, have we? We have. So that'll tell you there's only going to be, of those super luxuries, there's only going to be one in the entire galaxy. So you can find it. I found it here, and I can go to it. And it happens to be in someone else's territory. I'm already aware of that. I'm going to be going up here. Actually, that one's not. It's supposed to be the one over here. So that's one that I should send a construction ship and probably a small fleet to try and protect it to go grab it. Now, let's see if there's anything else that I didn't mention before. Okay, spies. So if you've got spies, and I'm not even sure I have one because mine keeps dying. Intelligence agents. Okay, so what you want to do early on, especially have like the humans that have really good spies, is you want to go and this can help compensate for not having good scientists. Is you want to go and find somebody and go down to steal technology. First, if you don't know any of their qualities, usually the easiest thing to do is steal a territory map and then select 1 year. And if you have anything that's above in the 90s or good, you can go ahead and send them. And if you don't know what, like this guy, I don't even know what he can do. So sending him on this mission will tell me what his skills are. Now, after that, if you can do stealing technology, which none of my guys have been able to do, and then you just doesn't matter which, for right now, it will, which nation you do it from does change the percentage, but I don't believe, very few times have I ever seen the technology affect the percentage. You go down to select a year. So this guy's not going to be very good. Even though it says 74%, 9 times out of 10, it seems like to me, I'll lose them on that. So I'm not sure I would. I wouldn't do it. These guys are super valuable. I would not do it if it's below 80. But that if you've got good intelligence officers like the humans, you would do this, and you would just plunder research from other empires to kind of support your, maybe if you don't have as good scientists. So that's what you would do with them. You can also do another one that's really cool. If you don't have intel on somebody, if they have I think it's I can't remember what it's called, but it'll make sense when you see it. You can do deep cover. I think it's gosh, I can't remember it. That's going to bug me. But if you have a decent percentage, go in deep cover. Once you do that, then you can see all their troop movements throughout their empire. See if there's any other good ones. You can do some sabotage missions every now and then to try and just slow them down. I don't feel like that really makes a big dent, especially later on. I've never tried Incite Revolution. That seems like that could be cool, but I've never really tried it. But there's a lot of options here. You'll usually want to have at least one person doing counterintelligence. Otherwise, you can just get stuff stolen from you. And I don't know if it really depends on how far ahead you are, but you don't want them to be able to catch up from you. Like I said, your other big ones are your colony governors. So what I do with this guy has a really good population growth bonus. So I stick him on the colony that looks like it could get really big. I don't put him on something like a new colony because it'll just take forever to get that up since it is so small. But I'll stick it on, somebody that I took over that has already a decent population and bring them up to max. I'll bring them up to max and then move them on. And then if you have another colony governor like this guy here, he's got really good happiness and income bonus. So I keep him at my home world so I can really crank up the taxes on them. All right, I think I'm just going to leave it at this. Trying to think if there's anything else on designs. Yeah, I'm just not. I think I've got most of the big ones that I wanted to show you. Oh yeah, troops. You'll want to always have some troops on your planet, at least one. If you're not thinking you're going to go to war, just have at least one. Otherwise, one of the things in this is capturing other enemy home planets is going to take a lot of troops. So you'll need a ton of troops. So somebody you're going to want to have be your troop generating planet. Again, I always do it from my home world. So if I go there, you can see over on this side are my facilities. And I've got my armored facility here, so I can build some armor equipment on this planet. Another thing that you'll go, this is a good thing that I pulled this up, but you can come over here to facilities. If you take over a planet or if you're having trouble with pirates in general, you'll go to this thing here and you might see a pirate base listed here. You want to make sure that you have probably at least 4 troops on your planet before you take over. What you would do is if you would select it, you would have an option over here to attack it and destroy it. And then you'll basically end up going to war, ground troops against that pirate base. Now that will make the pirates angry, but you don't want them on there because it'll increase your corruption, which affects your tax income. Then you would also, if you had the pirate base, but you also, I think the other one's maybe like a headquarters, you would see 2 of them. You need to make sure you have a lot of troops on there before you attacking them. They'll be hard to beat. I'm not sure how many. I think I usually have 10 or 15 when I try it. But anyway, all right, that's it. I'm just gonna wrap it up. Post these, and if you have any questions, Hal, just shoot me a text. I hope these help. Thank you very much.